What if everything you think the market tells you about XRP is half true, or worse, deliberately misleading? Not because the numbers are wrong, but because the story the numbers tell is incomplete. Today we're tearing that story apart. We're going to show you, with data, with logic, and with real examples, why the XRP price you see on the charts doesn't necessarily reflect XRP's real adoption, utility, or long-term potential. And no, this isn't another XRP to the moon hype video. If you want hype, press pause and go watch a rocket launch. This is different. This is the parts most people miss. I'm not here to sell you dreams. I'm here to give you clarity. And if you hold XRP, or you're thinking about it, understanding this could save you money and maybe make you more. So stay with me. First, why does this matter? Because price movements drive emotions. Fear, greed, panic. Whole communities are built around those short-term swings. But if the price signal is distorted, your emotional reactions can become financial mistakes. I get it. When the chart goes red, your stomach drops. You ask questions in the comments. Is this the end? Did I miss my chance? Those are real feelings, and they're valid, but they're not the whole story. So here's how we'll break this down. First, we'll uncover what you're really seeing when you look at XRP's price chart. Then, we'll dig beneath the surface into the hidden forces shaping it every single day. And finally, we'll talk about what that means for you, how to protect what you have and position yourself for the opportunities ahead. Ready? Let's start with what you think you're seeing. And yes, later I'll show one on-chain fact that most people ignore, and it changes the entire picture. Don't skip it. Let's start simple. Price is the intersection of supply and demand. Yes, but demand can be fake and supply can be manipulated. Exchange liquidity, wash trading, and market maker behavior can make a price move look real even when it's not. Imagine a pool of water. If you drop a stone in a shallow pool, it splashes wildly. It looks dramatic. Drop the same stone into a deep lake and nothing much happens. In markets, shallow liquidity makes small trades look like major moves. Retail viewers see the splash and assume everything has changed. They don't see the depth. So no, the candle going red doesn't always mean whales are out to get you. Sometimes it just means the pool was shallow and someone threw a rock. Section B, bots, spoofing, and exchange practices. Now the ugly stuff, bots and spoofing. These automated strategies can create temporary volume, fake price action, and misleading momentum. They create the noise you hear about in comments. It's a fake pump, they dumped, market manipulation. Those phrases aren't just salty comments. They can reflect real market mechanics. When bots trade, the chart moves. But the underlying economic reality, how businesses use XRP, how banks handle liquidity, how on-chain burns happen, can be entirely different. That mismatch is the source of the word misleading. Section C, liquidity corridors and off-chain settlement. Next hidden layer, not all usage happens on public exchanges. Many of the high-value flows, banks, payment providers, and private rails, use off-chain mechanisms or centralized liquidity pools. They might move value using XRP as a bridge, but that activity doesn't always reflect as immediate exchange volume. A bank runs settlement through a liquidity corridor, converting fiat A to XRP to fiat B in moments. The transaction is large, but it may not hit a public order book where retail traders can see it. So the real utility is executed, but your price chart stays unaware. So if institutional use can be invisible, where do we look to measure truth? I'll show you the one place that matters, and it's what most creators don't show. Also, fun fact, if you think a chart will comfort you, try looking at your Binance account log after 2 a.m. That's the real horror movie. Here's the on-chain fact you cannot ignore. XRP's transaction fees are burned. Over time, utility usage reduces supply. That's not a headline-grabbing pump. It's a slow-moving structural change. If adoption scales, the burn effect compound. This matters because markets value scarcity. But, and this is crucial, scarcity driven by usage looks very different from scarcity driven by speculative hoarding. The former is durable. The latter can vanish with sentiment. And when you combine invisible institutional usage with an ongoing burn, you begin to see why the market price can be misleading. More on that in a moment. Finally, don't underestimate how headlines and legal news shape price perception. One court ruling, one ambiguous tweet, one rumor, and the retail crowd reacts. Headlines drive headlines, but headlines are rarely the full story. So you have shallow liquidity, bot noise, invisible institutional flows, and slow-burning supply changes all at once. That's the perfect recipe for a misleading price. But how do we act on this? That's the part most people forget. And it's where a few small moves can make a big difference. Quick note for anyone who wants to act on what we're discussing. If you're trading or getting ready to trade, do it safely. I use BTCC, one of the oldest crypto exchanges with strong security and a straightforward interface. I've left my link in the description so you can sign up and claim the bonus. Trade smart, not emotional. Okay, back to the hidden truths. Rule 1. Never treat a single price candle as the whole story. Look for order book depth, not just volume spikes. Look for consistent on-chain activity, not flashy headlines. And check who is actually using XRP, payments, remittances, banks, not just tweets. If you want a real step-by-step approach, here's what I do. Step 1, check the exchange order book depth. Step 2, verify the on-chain transaction patterns. Step 3, watch the institutional integrations, not just flashy press releases. And step 4, time your trades around actual adoption events, not hype-driven narrative cycles. And then there's custody. If the price is noisy and manipulation is real, the last thing you want is your long-term stash on a custodial exchange. I personally recommend Ledger for cold storage. The NanoX is a secure way to keep XRP safe, offline, and under your control. I'll place a link in the description if you want to check it out. Remember, exchanges are for trading. Wallets are for ownership. Here's the mindset shift. When price is misleading, opportunities appear for the patient and prepared. If noise drives short-term fear, the prepared buyer can source value. If off-chain institutional flows are rising, the long-term utility case strengthens. Set alerts for real metrics, not just price. Watch burn totals, liquidity corridors, and confirmed institutional pilots. Those tell a better story than any headline. And if you get angry in the comments, that's okay. Use the energy to research a bit more. A quick reality check. None of this is a guarantee. Markets are probabilistic. You must size your risk, use stop limits, and never trade with money you can't afford to lose. But knowledge changes the odds. Understanding where the price is misleading gives you a structural edge. There's one more chapter to this story, what the banks are quietly doing behind the scenes, and why that could be far more important than any headline. If you want the full picture, don't miss the next video. If this video helped you see the difference between noise and signal, hit the like button. It tells YouTube to show this to other smart investors. Subscribe for weekly deep dives like this one. And if you're ready to see how institutional adoption fits into this puzzle, click here to watch. Banks are quietly choosing XRP over Swift. You weren't told this. That video picks up exactly where this one leaves off and shows the quiet infrastructure shift that most people never notice. If you're trading, remember BTCC to get started safely. If you hold long-term, consider Ledger for secure cold storage. Links are below. Markets will always shout. Your best profits come from listening to the quiet facts behind the noise. Stay curious. Stay disciplined. I'll see you in the next one.